Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online Series 7 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In yesterday's episode, we started a brand new rank season, and we are using a pretty fun team with full Incense Trick Grimmsnarl, so had a lot of good games with this yesterday, eager to play a couple more today, so let's get started right away. First team we're up against has Thunderous, Urshifu, Amoonguss, Incineroar, Comfey, and the Rhyperior, so I think Rhyperior definitely sticks out the most on this team composition. That's not something you really see very often in the format at all nowadays, despite how dominant it was just a couple of months ago, at the start of VGC 2020. So, Comfey makes me think that could be a potential weakness policy set up on Rhyperior. That would be pretty interesting. So we have Grimmsnarl. I mean, the team is entirely physical from the opposing end, right? So, isn't Reflect really valuable for us here? I think. Yeah, I feel like Reflect's really good. Rhyperior is a problem. Dynamax Landorus is really good outside of the Thunderous. We just want to make sure we don't activate like a Defiant on that. I just want to respect the Rhyperior possibility as a lead. I always tend to lead with Urshifu, and I might just go for it again here. So Grimmsnarl or Urshifu just for a ton of offensive pressure from the start. Landorus in the back. And I think it might be Rillaboom in this one, because I think I want to Dynamax the Landorus. I don't know, Zapdos is really good offensively here, but Rhyperior is just kind of a big threat. So that's the one thing that one reason why I didn't want to bring Zapdos. So, let's see. Either way, thanks as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoy, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Question of the day, I want to know what your favorite generation is design-wise. Let me know in the comments below. It's going to be Thunderous and Rhyperior. Okay, so I feel like this is okay. Obviously, I can set up a Reflect. The other interesting thing here is only one of my opponent's two Pokemon can Dynamax, right? So given this lead, I kind of expect Max Airstream from Thunderous and to Choice Band Rhyperior, maybe? I think that's definitely a possibility. I'm down to go for Trick here onto the Thunderous. Yeah. Yeah, I think Band Rhyperior here is a decent possibility. Trick onto Thunderous and just close combat into Rhyperior I feel like is maybe okay. Or actually, maybe I just want damage onto Thunderous now that I think about it. So I'm going to go for Trick and Wicked Blow onto it. Ooh, nice switch. Incineroar? Okay, into Comfey. Well, that's kind of a wasted trick. And it's Rhyperior that Dynamaxes. Okay, so I called that incorrectly. Yeah, I mean, I think Policy is probably likely on the Rhyperior. I thought for a moment it might have been Choice Banded, though, with, Life Orb Thunderous. And you just Dynamax Thunderous. So, could have gone for the trick there onto Rhyperior, but it's fine. We can still steal away. Oh, I guess you can still, the trick here on Comfey is actually just, so useless, because, its priority bracket is still higher. So, we get rid of a Berry. Okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't close combat into Rhyperior. That would have activated a weakness policy. Yeah. It's just going to be Max Rockfall into Grimmsnarl, presumably. So, I mean, I can Reflect this next turn. I think that's probably our best play. Wow, that one-shot? That's a problem. We get crit there. Okay, yeah. I don't think that KOs without the crit, which means I don't get Reflect up now, which is a real bummer. So, that's not great. That puts us in a pretty awkward spot now, I think. Yeah. That's a really bad crit, but it is what it is. I mean, I do have Banded Rillaboom here in the back, right? So, I don't think it's, terrible. I wonder if Banded Woodhammer just one-shots Rhyperior. I mean, the other thing with Rillaboom out now is, do you protect with the Comfey? Sorry, protect with Rhyperior and then try to set up Trick Room? I think that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, the play I'm leaning towards here is actually glide into Comfey here and switch out into Landorus. Because I feel like you really have to respect the double up onto the Rhyperior here. And I think Banded Woodhammer... Well, actually, yeah, I'd probably need a Woodhammer and close combat here. I had two plays here. One was doubling up into Rhyperior, but if I double up into Rhyperior and Trick Room goes up, I think I'm really doomed. Whereas here, even if the worst case is you activate a weakness policy, it's not terrible for us. Because I at least get rid of the Comfy and I get Landorus in for free. Okay, nice. They max guard. Huge. Alright, that's good. That's very, very good. Especially, I mean, we actually do need a KO with Grassy Glide. If not, we're in trouble. But yeah, that's enough to pick up the KO. Okay, good. That actually puts us in a pretty decent spot then. Because I still have my Dynamax completely, and Rhyperior has already committed 2 turns of Dynamax, and it's intimidated. So, all things considered, I think it's fine. I will say, I think this team actually uses Dynamax Landorus really, really well. And, you know, obviously with Landorus returning, a lot of people are like, oh, this Pokemon is so broken. Like, I'm really nervous to see it come back into the format. Rightfully so as well. But I think that, like, it's not nearly as good in the Dynamax format. But this team utilizes Dynamax Landorus really, really well. So that's one thing I really like about the team. So I'm just going to glide into Rhyperior, double up into it here, Dynamax and Quake. Yeah, I just want to get the KO onto that. Thundurus is not a threat to AV Landorus whatsoever. Back in the day, I mean, you'd run Hidden Power Ice, that would be an answer against Landorus. But with Hidden Power no longer being in the format, I don't think there's any reason to fear the Thundurus. I'm just curious of the moveset on it. Like, are you actually physical with Life Orb? Like, that could still make sense in the context of the team, right? Because my opponent had Urshifu as well. So, like, it definitely could have been Banded Urshifu, Life Orb Thundurus. Like, that's what I was initially expecting. But then as soon as I saw the Thundurus Rhyperior lead, I was like, you could be Max Speed Rhyperior. And Max Airstream Earthquake would be really bad to go up against. Okay, we get the Grassy Glide off. That alone almost one-shots Rhyperior. So Max Quake, yeah, definitely would have KO'd. Sorry, not Max Quake, what am I saying? Woodhammer. Okay, yep, there's the policy. Thundurus goes for Fly, yep. Confirming that it is more offensive, because after going up against that Eerie Impulse Thundurus the other day, I was like, there is some possibility now that, like, this is a set that's increasing in popularity. And so, thought, like, maybe this was a support Thundurus with Thunder Wave and Eerie Impulse. But, yeah. If you're running Fly, that means you're almost always going to be, like, a Life Orb Dynamax set, because Fly is just not a good attack unless it's on a Thundurus that wants the Dynamax. Okay, so we still have 2 turns of Dynamax. We have a guaranteed one-hit KO onto Thundurus with Max Rockfall this next turn. I can just switch Rillaboom out and get rid of the... I mean, just not be in KO range from a Fly, right? Rillaboom did pretty well into this team offensively as well, so... Last one's going to be Urshifu. Urshifu. Am I worried about you? I don't even think I need to switch out. Is it more optimal to switch out? It's also Water Urshifu, by the way. That's kind of interesting. I think given that my last one is Urshifu, it's safe to actually just stay in and click Grassy Glide. Because if you attack here, I just pick up the KO. With Sand, you'll guaranteed Feint even if you're Focus Sash. So I think just Rockfall into Thundurus Glide into Urshifu is pretty safe here. And Urshifu does detect. Okay, that's fine though, right? Because now, like I could have switched out there, and that would have guaranteed us the game. But like, yeah, Thundurus comes down. You probably one-shot the Rillaboom, but then I KO the Thundurus. And then now it's a 2v1 with Dynamax Landorus plus my Urshifu against my opponent's Urshifu. And I can just Max Airstream close combat. So it was Life Orb Thundurus, yeah. So that's what I initially thought, but I don't know. Well, it's obviously not Banded Urshifu either here, so it's probably Focus Sash. Good to know that it's not Scarfed either, though. That's actually pretty valuable information. So we KO Thundurus there. Now it's a 2v1. And with Urshifu in an endgame, we can always just safely click close combat into the opposing slot, obviously, and Max Airstream. And I'm pretty sure a triple crit Surging Strikes is not going to KO us. So I think we should be good here. Yeah, you can't go for the double protect play because I'll actually just KO you through double protect. So I think it's just close combat Max Airstream here. The reason why I wanted to switch out, or sorry, didn't switch out there was because I foresaw a world in which like Urshifu didn't protect. What was the worst case? If you actually targeted Landorus with Fly and you were, I don't know, like Banded Urshifu, and you doubled up into the Landorus slot, and I switch out, then I don't get any damage off that turn, right? We do end up close combating first, which is quite fortunate, so winning a potential speed tide there. Although I don't really think it would have mattered, because Max Airstream would have finished it off anyway at this point. Yeah, especially with CC going out into my Urshifu. But that's the right play, like triple Surging Strikes crit, I don't think KO's Landorus, so Max Airstream was just always going to seal it up for us here. Unless it was Koba Berry. But even if you're Koba, I can just Earthquake the subsequent turn. So, yeah. It was a scary game because Rhyperior put on a lot of offensive pressure, but I think one of the reasons why Rhyperior is just not as good as it is, you know, from early VGC 2020 is because of Rillaboom. Rillaboom is just such a fantastic Pokemon right now. mainly because of its ability to flex as a Dynamax option as well as a non-Dynamax option, primarily as a non-Dynamax option. So you can really splash it onto, a lot of different teams. So us having a banded Rillaboom, I could just pressure the Rhyperior with the big KO on switching in was a really big deal. And that's kind of the downside of Rhyperior in the format without much speed control. You really want Trick Room to go up for it. So I think the main critical turn in this game was being able to predict the Rhyperior max guarding there. Because that was a scenario in which I think if Trick Room goes up, we're just like absolutely doomed. Whereas even in the worst case there, which was Rhyperior not protecting, Comfy going for side Giga Drain, it's still okay. And with the grassy terrain, honestly, Giga Drain does do a fair amount of damage into the Rhyperior as well. So yeah, I think the main upside in that game was basically we always had 2 Pokemon that put on a lot of offensive pressure as soon as Grimmsnarl went down, whereas my opponent only had 1. But I think it was a really tricky matchup because, yeah, for them. Because Rhyperior obviously just doesn't fare super well into Rillaboom, Landorus, or Urshifu. It's part of the reason why I prioritized all of those. And you can see how if I led Zapdos, which I was very close to doing, as I said in Team Preview, we would have gotten crushed by the lead. So glad I didn't go for that. This is a really cool team. Entei, Dragapult, Grimmsnarl, Blastoise, Regieleki, and Spectrier. So first thing to note is there's a lot, like, my opponent has some of the fastest Pokemon in the metagame. Spectrier, Regieleki, Dragapult, like, those are pretty much the fastest, like, competitively viable mons you could really use. One thing to potentially worry about here is a self-weakness policy activation. Something like Self-Sucker Punch from Grimmsnarl to Dragapult's a possibility. I think it's not exactly super likely, but you have to show it respect. Just because, weakness policy Dragapult's one of those things that can, like, just sweep through an entire team if you're unprepared for it. So, let's see. Who to lead with here? Landorus is a little scary because we could get burnt by Spectrier. That'd be really bad. I feel like Dragapult's the likely max option on my opponent's team. We haven't really brought in Heatran yet. That could be interesting, but the amount of Snarls on my opponent's team is also kind of scary. Not gonna lie. Rillaboom one-shots a lot of the opposing team, though, so I kind of like leading that. I guess I really should bring Urshifu against the Dragapult team, right? I really want Grimmsnarl. So maybe it's Grimmsnarl, Rillaboom, and Urshifu. Yeah, I guess that works. And then the question is, who do I Dynamax? It's between Zapdos and Landorus. I'm going for Landorus here just because of the Regieleki. But I don't know if I needed to show Regieleki that much respect given the rest of my team here. So, I don't know. My opponent's team is really scary. Like, it has just a lot of really, really fast Pokemon, and I think speed is just, like, such a crucial component to winning. And when you have, like, normally you'll see me be, like, Regieleki, Dragapult most, but it's, like, Regieleki, Dragapult, and the Spectrier. But my opponent actually leads Blastoise, Grimmsnarl. So, none of those come out. I feel like this is decent for us, though. Like, we get Rillaboom out immediately, so that's pretty good. I don't think there's... I mean, Blastoise is not going to want to stay in here, right? But I guess my opponent could go Fake Out Max Hailstorm into Rillaboom. That'd be a really crazy play. But it would work. I could Max Rillaboom. Oh. Like, that actually may be the play, but then it falls off so much against Dragapult and the Entei, which are going to be in the back. I am just worried about Blastoise maxing, but that would be a really crazy play in my opinion. I think I'm just going to glide into Blastoise and Reflect turn 1, honestly. Actually, do I need to Reflect? Yeah, because I want to conserve my Trick if I can. Okay, they Protect, that's fine. That also works for me. At best, you like Thunder Wave us. Okay, so we go for a Glide. They didn't go for Fake Out. We get our own Reflect up. Okay, nice. I mean, the thing is, now it's a free double up into Blastoise this next turn. Ooh, play rough. Okay. That is interesting. Offensive. Okay. Well, I think Blastoise definitely switches out here if you're my opponent, right? So, I don't care, I think. I mean, what switches in? It's going to be Entei or Dragapult, right? Those are the only 2 resists. I mean, maybe my opponent sacks the Blastoise. That's actually a slight possibility as well. I could always go out into Landorus here, which is tempting. Get an Intimidate off, plus... Wow, I didn't expect Play Rough. That definitely throws things off a little bit. Like, I don't think it's that much of a problem, but I guess I'll just Glide Blastoise here and switch out into Landorus. I feel like that's okay. I don't know if I need to conserve Grimmsnarl. I also thought about doubling up onto Blastoise, because the switch out here was super obvious, right? Yeah, there's Entei. So I could have gone for the Trick and the Glide onto that slot, which may have been the better play, honestly. Oh, they're Pressure as well, by the way. That's pretty interesting. Which means I will get the Intimidate off against it. Okay, well, I mean, that works for me. I don't think this Grimmsnarl is super scary right now. Just kind of worried about what this Entei can potentially do against us. Especially potential burn. That's my main fear. Yeah, they just play rough into the Grimmsnarl slot. We don't really take very much damage there. Honestly, the play might be to just max here. I'm going to go out, back out into Grimmsnarl now. And Dynamax. And I'm just going to Airstream. Because I want to just ensure that I'm faster than the rest of my opponent's team for basically the remainder of the game. Choice Banded Rillaboom is also a really good late game option against my opponent's team, especially given the Grimmsnarl and the Blastoise reveal. But I feel like for how good of a position I was, given the leads, I should be in a better spot right now. So I don't think I capitalized off my position enough last turn. And I think doubling up into Blastoise was pretty safe last turn. But I was worried about, like, not getting a Trick off, because, like, if I just Glide KO Blastoise, like, I think possible play my opponent could have made was just sacrifice their Blastoise there, right? Either way, I'll get the Grimmsnarl back out. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to Dynamax. Best case is Entei protecting here so that I don't get Sacred Fire burnt, and then I can just pick up a KO into it with Max Quake next turn. Because my opponent doesn't really have ground resist, right? Yeah, I think that's one of the downsides of their team. So whether or not we get burnt here may be a very big question, actually. But they just go for Extreme Speed. Okay, that works for me. Makes sense. I mean, they wanted to just, like, go out, you know, and get a free switch in, but by not KOing Entei, this actually works really heavily in our favor. Because now I can KO you this next turn, and I'll outspeed, like, a potential Dragapult in the back now. False Surrender? What does that even do? Wait, I literally have to look that attack. I didn't even know that was an attack that existed in the game. False Surrender. What? It's a signature move of Grimmsnarl as well. It does 80 base power, and it bypasses accuracy. Unless you're using Fly or Dig. Huh. It's the signature move of Grimmsnarl's pre-evolution, actually, but that is really interesting. I've never seen that before. Okay. Kind of want to double up onto Grimmsnarl here, honestly. But with the Intimidate, we should survive an attack from Grimmsnarl, right? So I can always just KO and Airstream here. I'm down for another speed boost, just to ensure Landorus outspeeds everything in the back. Okay, Entei switches out into Blastoise. That's fine by me. It's going to take a lot of damage from this. Like, we're setting ourselves up for a late game Landorus, right? Yeah, that's great damage there. Max Spike might have just one-shot. Oh, no. It's the same amount of damage, what am I saying? I forgot both their stab. Okay, so that's pretty good. Wait, how fast are they with Grimmsnarl? Oh, because we have full incense right now, right? Yeah, that's a funny interaction. You don't see that very often. Nice damage from Spirit Break, by the way. I don't really think I can pick up a double KO here, though, which is kind of sad, but like, everything on my opponent's team is so chipped, right? Like, what Dynamax is at this point? I honestly do want to conserve this Grimmsnarl for the late game, so I think I'm actually going to go out into Rillaboom here and just go for another Airstream onto the Blastoise. Yeah, my opponent's Grimmsnarl isn't really that scary right now. I'm kind of playing this slow, but, like, we've already gotten 3 Pokemon down to 50%, or under 50%. All 3 Pokemon we've seen right now, Blastoise, Grimmsnarl, Entei, are in KO range from a Glide, right? And by conserving Grimmsnarl, it means that in this late game, yeah, my opponent has conserved their Dynamax advantage, but then if I get my Grimmsnarl back in, go for the trick, that denies them, like, a sweep with the potential max Pokemon. Yeah. What? Wow, I didn't think they would Dynamax right now. Huh. They're gonna Dynamax Blastoise. Interesting. Maybe, yeah, I mean, that allows them to survive, so that's a pretty cool play. I didn't think about that as a possibility at all. But they Max Guard, which I think puts them in a really bad spot, because I can just Glide your Blastoise next turn, and you can't prevent that at all, right? Yeah, like, this physical Grimmsnarl set's interesting, but it just doesn't do enough damage. Because we have Reflect and the Intimidate up, so I'm not worried about it in the slightest. Okay. I think it may have been better for my opponent to just attack with Blastoise there, but they probably weren't expecting me to switch in either. Ooh, Terrain is gone. Wait, I should have thought about that. Is that a problem? Could be, depending on how fast your Blastoise is, actually. Alright, I actually want to play it safe here, because they already committed their Dynamax as well. So let's just go out into Grimmsnarl here and go for Fly onto the Grimmsnarl. Yeah, that's a pretty safe play. You give me a free switch and back into Rillaboom. I just, like, don't know if Blastoise outspeeds us here, because I didn't get a speed boost on the Rillaboom, so. They do have Reflect. Wow, this is such an interesting set. Okay. This game is definitely taking longer than expected. And they cannonade into the Landorus line. Okay, works for me. Okay, I'm down to Trick into Blastoise now. I think Fly still KOs Grimmsnarl from the range that it's at. I probably lose both Pokemon though, don't I? Yeah. Okay, so what's my endgame? Choice Band Rillaboom plus Urshifu. That's pretty good against everything my opponent could have in the back, so I still feel decent about this, I think. But the Max Blastoise was really interesting, and I should have counted my, Wow, so it was offensive Grimmsnarl, but they also had screens this entire time. That's fascinating. What was your item? Policy. Huh. Very interesting. Okay, Fly still KOs Grimmsnarl. Nice. So we get that knockout out of the way. We're going to go for Cannonade. Yep. Now we guarantee outspeed Blastoise, though, which is good. So Rillaboom obviously can take care of that. Wow, Landorus survives that with the AV and the... Yeah, just the AV, actually. That's pretty impressive. I think both Pokemon fade from Cannonade here, though. I actually think Blastoise maxing was a really smart decision. Like, I just didn't anticipate that at all. Yeah, I think we... Oh, I know, we survived that. Oh, that's kind of nice, actually, because I can steal away another item now. Yeah, that's kind of sweet. Let me just go out into Urshifu here. Because I think Urshifu plus Rillaboom beat anything in the back. But this is kind of a scary endgame, honestly. Yeah, because Entei comes back out. Their Dynamax ends. So Blastoise isn't really that much of a threat at this point. I obviously have Crit Wicked Blow coming out right now. That's really valuable in this endgame. Have to respect Sacred Fire. I think the play is just to protect Urshifu, honestly. Yeah, I can just Reflect here. Actually, do I even need to protect? I can just Reflect and Wicked Blow, right? No, but I think Reflect Protect is safer, because then I just get a free switch in. Yeah. I get a free switch in into the Rillaboom, and then I can just click Glide Wicked Blow, and that should seal up this endgame for us. They might E-Speed here, but okay. Get the Reflect up. Nice. Yeah, they went Sacred Fire. Okay, nice. Good. So we get a free Reflect. Focus Blast. Wow, okay. Interesting. Yeah, with that, though, now I just bring in Rillaboom, right? So Focus Blast, Cannonade, Protect, and then probably an Ice-type attack is my guess. Like Ice Beam as the fourth. We get Rillaboom out. Like, I was never in immediate danger in this game, but I can't help but feel like I could have played better with my Landorus advantage. Especially because I feel like I had a good lead. That being said, we're still not in a bad spot, right? So it's okay, but just wonder what I could have done better here. Okay, we have Reflect up. I can just Glide Blastoise here. I would think Sucker Punch still KOs Entei, but I don't know how bulky it is. I'm just going to Wicked Blow it. Blastoise protects. I actually wonder if I should have targeted that slot with Urshifu then. Okay, we Glide. Yep, so this should KO Entei. Yeah, I think we're fine. Because, like, what's my opponent's last one going to be? Regardless of what it is, I can always double up onto you with the Choice Band, Grassy Glide, and a Sucker Punch. Nothing in the back of my opponent's team can take that double up. You've got Dragapult, Regieleki, and Spectrier. the 3 Pokemon I was worried about in Team Preview that were really fast, hilariously enough. But I don't think any of those are really a problem. I guess the one concern here is Cannonade damage is adding up. Yeah, I didn't know if Banded Glide was going to KO Entei from that range. If it was, then we should have just glided Entei and then gone for, yeah, switched up the targeting there. Regieleki is the last one, okay. If you're running Regieleki, that means you have a really bad matchup into the Rillaboom. Like, you shouldn't be able to one-shot it at all. Let's just double check how many turns of terrain we have left. 4, right? We just switched it back in. So I think it's pretty safe to just glide into Blastoise here and Sucker Punch, because Regieleki shouldn't have any way to KO Rillaboom. Sucker Punch just breaks a potential Sash, puts it in Glide KO range. Blastoise protected, so if you're my opponent, you may consider going for a double protect. That's exactly what they do, but they don't get it, unfortunately. That could have been kind of scary if they pulled it off, I guess. Well, we'll see what Regieleki goes for. Because, like, I just don't think that really has enough damage to deal with me in this endgame. And they just went for T-Bolt onto Urshifu, okay. Yeah, I feel like we're probably fine then, but if you get the double, then I have to commit another turn gliding into you. How many turns of Reflect were up, actually? I guess with Cannonade damage, if you were, like, Spexed, 2 Thunderbolts might have been enough to pick up the KO onto me. Whereas I don't know if Banded Glide knocks out Regieleki because the Reflect is up on my opponent's side. And they were Light Clay this entire time as well. Grimmsnarl is such an interesting Pokemon in the format right now. Like, there's so many different ways you can run it. And, like, after I saw the beginning offense, as soon as I saw Play Rough and what was the signature attack? False Surrender. A shame we couldn't see the animation there. That would have been pretty cool. But I was going to say, yeah, because we didn't see any screens in the early game, I was like, I don't even think you have screens, but turns out they do. So, yeah. Definitely surprising. But that game ended up being scarier than I, like, thought it would be. Because I thought we had a really, really good, like, team advantage. They were banded, which explains the extreme speed as well, instead of like a protect. Interesting. Yeah, banded Citrus Dragapult. Wow. Huh. Support with Ally Switch. Dragon Darts Phantom Force. Like Clay Grimmsnarl as we saw this entire time, yeah. Policy Blastoise. With Shell Smash and Focus Blast. Very interesting. Okay, it wasn't Spexed. Oh, wait. Huh? It was Spexed? But with Reflect and Protect. That's interesting. Life Orb Spectre with Nasty Plot. Wow. Okay. It's so funny. I was like, there's no way it's Spexed after seeing the moveset, but yeah. That was not a set I would have expected. Okay, we'll take it. Alright, last game of the day, and we are up against a really interesting team here. Rotom Heat, Milotic, Mamoswine, Garchomp, Spectre, and Rillaboom. I definitely want to try out Spectre more in the next one. There was a really cool tournament-winning team featuring it just a few days ago. And I think Spectre is super, super compelling right now. So, yeah. Okay, so Mamoswine is the main concern here, but we yesterday beat Mamoswine in the first game, right? I think I just went Urshifu Rillaboom in that one. Also, I haven't brought Heatran out at all. Would it really be right to bring it here into 2 ground types? Probably not. Probably not. This is a weird one, because it's like, I have some Pokemon that beat my opponent's Pokemon hard and then just get wrecked by others. So, for example, like Zapdos destroys Rillaboom, destroys the Milotic, but then it gets wrecked by the Mamoswine. Although, I guess maybe not as badly as I think it would. Because I could just Fake Tears Max Flare it, right? Huh. I didn't even think about that. That is an interesting possibility. I don't bring Heatran into this, but I think Rillaboom needs to come out because of the threat of... Like, do I not bring Urshifu? That seems odd. But I'm thinking it's Grimmsnarl, Zapdos, Landorus, Rillaboom. I might be getting... The Fake Tears might be baiting me here. Because Rillaboom, of course, in my opponent's end could come out and fake out my Grimmsnarl on turn 1. But it's like, if my opponent leaves Mamoswine, I can just go Fake Tears Max Flare turn 1. So, I don't know. It's a possibility. We haven't used the Fake Tear stuff too much. I mean, yesterday's episode, it was pretty solid, so... Yeah. If Garchomp comes out, I can just, give it the full incense, and I always have the Landorus as a switch-in possibility as well. Garchomp Milotic. Okay. That's fine, right? I think this is just a turn 1 full incense onto the Garchomp, Dynamax Zapdos, Max Lightning Milotic. Although Milotic protecting here is... Or switching... Actually, wait, yeah, there's a lot of switch-ins into electric-type attacks. I just don't want to get hit by Hypnosis. That's my one fear. I don't know if I need to get rid of my full incense here, to be honest with you. Like, Reflect Dynamax Airstream seems okay, too. Because, like, Garchomp speed control is pretty lacking. It doesn't really have much. Now, it's going to have Outspeed Zapdos on this turn. Like, if Milotic stays in here, that's a really impressive play. I guess it could be Wakamberry, and then you can go for Hypnosis if you have it, but yeah, they switch out. I feel like you have to go into Mammo or Rotom Heat. Yep, exactly. Okay, so that's good, because the other upside about this is now that I can... And first of all, I get Reflect Up for free, right? That's really nice. Ooh, Garchomp's not maxing? Might be Swords Dancing, Protecting, or just Rock Sliding. Those are the 3 options, I think. Or it's just slower Garchomp, like Adamant Garchomp. That's a possibility as well. Now my only fear is Focus Sash Grimmsnarl. Sorry, Focus Sash Mamoswine. Oh, they are just slower. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, given that, I don't think you're going to be Thick Fat. I'm pretty sure I can just take away your item on Mamoswine with Trick and then just flare you for a KO next turn. Because I get Reflect Up as well, so Garchomp's not even that scary right now, right? Like, this was a pretty free turn 1 for us, I'd say. Yeah, the main thing was to just not get baited into attacking there. Also, if you look at what my opponent's brought so far, they're super, super weak to the Rillaboom. Like, all 3 of these get crushed by Rillaboom right now, which is great for us. But natural outspeeding Garchomp is kind of surprising there. I was not expecting that, but I guess we'll take it. Because I think this next turn is just get rid of Mamoswine's item and Max Flare it for a 1-hit KO. I wonder if Airstream one-shots it, actually. They Max Quake. Okay, if you're Max Quaking, maybe it's Fake Tear. No, the reason I'm not Fake Tearsing is because of the respect for the Focus Sash, right? Alright, let's look at my opponent's team. Is there anything that's more likely to carry Focus Sash? I think the one answer would be Spectrier. I really could see Mamoswine being sashed here. I really could. We have Reflect Up, +1 speed, +1 Spadef. Man, the other question is whether or not Fake Tears. I just don't know if I one-shot Mamoswine. Like, that's my concern. So the other play I'm considering is just going for Fake... Like, how likely is Mamoswine going to actually carry Focus Sash? I don't know. I think it's definitely a possibility. But because I've already gotten Reflect Up, I guess it's not really that scary anyway. Okay, I'm down to Fake Tears, Flare it. Let's see. If you're Sashed, so be it. Like, nice set. Okay, we get the Fake Tears off. Grimmsnarl going for that animation is it's just so funny to me. Nice. Get the Max Flare off. I mean, most Mamoswines are oblivious over Thick Fat. Yeah, you're not sashed. Okay, nice. I don't know. I mean, that was slightly risky, but the thing is, because I Reflect Up, even if Mamoswine survives, like, at best you get an Icicle Crash or Spear into Zapdos and a Rock Fall, but with Reflect Up, I'm pretty sure I still survive that. Screens is just so strong. So now what we do is basically target around the Garchomp. This Garchomp is not doing much damage with Reflect being up, so I just don't care about it. Yeah, you have +2 Spadef, but you've already taken 40% of damage. A Banded Grassy Glide will just KO you after the Dynamax ends. So I'm not really worried about that at all. They bring out Rillaboom, which is perfect for Zapdos. So yeah, I think Zapdos kind of 4v1 this game, but you know, the Grimmsnarl support obviously helped immensely. Because the thing is now, it's always a free Airstream into Rillaboom. I don't care about what Garchomp has to do in this position. I don't want to get hit by a Fake Out here. Yeah, it's pretty free to go into Landorus. There's no reason actually to not go into Landorus, because another thing to consider when you have Landorus against a Milotic is you never want to be forced into position. And that's interesting. They actually bait out... Oh! Hold on. That was actually a really cool play. I was just saying how you like don't want to get baited out. Grassy Seed, though. Okay, yeah, I think Zapdos still wins. Like, I think the one thing my opponent needed there was like... Actually, yeah, regardless, it didn't really matter. Maybe like a bulky berry, so then you could survive, but then the thing is Landorus outspeeds you next turn anyway, so yeah. That was a cool play, though. I mean, I think that was the best option on their end, because if they just lose another Pokemon, it's just like instantly over for them, I feel like. But we're still in such a commanding position, to be honest. Yeah, because it's like, I can still just Thunderbolt Milotic next turn, right? And this Garchomp is at -1 attack, and Reflect is up, so nothing it does is remotely threatening to me right now. They do have Max Rockfall, though. That's cool to see. I don't mind that, though, honestly. Like, setting up the sand means that you're not getting that Grassy Terrain recovery, and that was a very sad amount of damage. So, I do think this is one of the downsides of Garchomp. Garchomp's actually a really cool max option in this format, but I feel like it either needs something like a Life Orb or Swords Dance, because without any boosts, the damage output is just not incredible, honestly. So, In the end, my opponent actually brought 4 Pokemon that didn't have resistances to grass. So Choice Band Rillaboom was a really good late game win condition in this one as well. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah, Banded Rillaboom was really good here. They needed to bring Rotom Heat, because it's like, we have so many win cons at this point, right? Like, there's so many ways we could play this out and win. I'm just going to go for a U-turn onto Garchomp, and Thunderbolt onto Milotic is really safe. Because, like, the worst case scenario here is Milotic protecting, Garchomp going for crit Rock Slide onto Zapdos, but even if you do that, I U-turn the Garchomp out, I bring in the Rillaboom, and then I can just click Glide into Milotic. I bring in Landorus as well, and I can actually Glide U-turn into the Milotic slot, I think. Yeah. So we U-turn out, just cycle in, Intimidate a little bit more, and the main thing here is that Milotic just isn't that scary if I have something like Zapdos or Choice Band Rillaboom out, right? So you can see how well this team actually covers for the AV Landorus, because obviously AV Landorus doesn't really want to go against these bulky water types, but what are the best answer for bulky water types? Well, a very hyper-offensive electric-type Pokemon, and Choice Banded Rillaboom is just, like, so powerful. So we can go out into Grimmsnarl. We actually never even tricked this game, that's kind of funny. But the reason I go out into Grimmsnarl here is just to prevent a potential crit onto the Rillaboom. Not that it really matters at this point. I think Rillaboom Landorus cleans this up cleanly for us. Okay, so we survived that. Nice. What do I want to do now? Yeah, I mean, there's really no way in which we'd lose, right? Perhaps actually bringing out Rillaboom there would have been better. No, I never really think it makes a difference. Like, we're so far ahead in this game. I don't know. If Garchomp double crits there, we double Fate, right? So then I could bring in Landorus and my Rillaboom. And then I guess because I don't have Fake Out, you could crit a Glide onto my Landorus through Intimidate. So yeah, actually, more optimal play there would have been to go into Rillaboom to cover for a double critical hit. And you're probably telling me, like, why do you care? You're so far ahead. But, like, you guys remember yesterday's game where I missed 2 Rock Slides to lose. And, like, in my head, I thought it was already won. But you have to consider even any non-zero, you know, any play that there like exists where there's a non-0% chance they can win, you have to consider it, no matter how slim it is. Even if it's like 0.0001%, like those things exist, right? 1 turn to Reflect Up. Okay. We just go into Landorus now, right? Yeah, just go back out into Landorus. And protecting with Zapdos would have been better here instead of risking the Hurricane. But after an Intimidate onto the opposing Rillaboom, and I can bring Grimmsnarl out for another Reflect, my Rillaboom should just clean up this game pretty easily. So yeah. Protecting Zapdos here probably was slightly better because we couldn't miss. We're going to go Fake Out onto the Zapdos. Okay, nice play. So probably Fake Out Rock Slide. So we actually get a static off. Nice. Which is why I was saying Protect Zapdos would have been better there. Like, oh, it's Life Orb. That's interesting. I honestly wonder if Rock Slide even KOs here. Oh, jeez. We're going to Faint from the sand, though, but that's fine. So, kind of a long, drawn-out game, but because I'm ahead, I have room to make these plays, right? So now I can just go out into my own Rillaboom. Reflect is off. Yeah, we can go out into our own Rillaboom here. U-turn into the opposing Rillaboom, glide into Garchomp. And Intimidates are just so valuable in this endgame scenario, right? So, yeah. U-turn is guaranteed damage, whereas I can miss a fly, and if you're in a late game scenario where you're far ahead, you just never want to use inaccurate attacks. Like, just use 100% accurate attacks, even if it is not a guaranteed KO. It's just better to go for. So, we KO Garchomp there. Nice. They're going to go for their own Glide. They need a crit here to have a chance, but no crit. Even if they crit, though, I still feel like we're in a really winning position, because I just bring out the Grimmsnarl and I just click Reflect. And Reflect plus Glide from my end with the Choice Band should be more than enough to win. So, yeah. I think the main upside in this game was just being faster than Garchomp before Airstream. No, it didn't really make that much of a difference, I guess, because I was able to one-shot Mamoswine the next turn anyway. I think the lack of resists to this Rillaboom made the endgame easier for us, plus not getting baited into Max Lightning onto Milotic in the early game was good. But Zapdos Grimmsnarl, once again, just such a good combination here. You know, the Grimmsnarl just provides such phenomenal support and doesn't really get KO'd that easily either. So, nice. Static here was a little fortunate, I guess. Their Rillaboom might have been faster than ours, but yeah. Yeah, we can just Spirit Break and Glide. So Grimmsnarl has been really the MVP of like this team while using it thus far, and this has just been a really fun team to play with. Like, I like just how good all the Pokemon can be, and how flexible they can be. Right, like. I think one of the advantages of this team is that the Pokemon that you Dynamax you don't have to force them to Dynamax. Zapdos, Landorus are both incredible as non-max options on this team as well. Now, Zapdos a little bit less than Landorus. I'm curious about the team here. So Scarf Tom, very interesting. You don't see that very often. Grassy Seed, Miloticus, we saw 3 attacks with Life Dew. No Hypnosis though in the end. That was my main fear. AV Mamoswine. Oh wow, interesting. Policy Garchomp, but it didn't have max candies. I see. Sash was on the Spectre, and then it was Life Orb Rillaboom here in the end. So, yeah, I think we definitely had a decent matchup. Garchomp not having max candies, I guess, helped us a little bit, but in the end it was going to be in KO range from Banded Rillaboom anyway, so I was just trying to set myself up for the Rillaboom endgame here. But I feel like we had a pretty decent matchup, and Zapdos in the end put in a lot of work. I think like Rotom Heat would have made my life more difficult, because Rotom Heat actually walls all 3 of Zapdos' attacks. So that could have caused some problems, but fortunately enough, that did not end up coming out. So we didn't have to worry about it very much. And actually, now that I think about it, like if my opponent were to replay that and they Dynamax Rotom Heat, we could be in some real trouble. Because the only way I have to hit Rotom Heat with what I brought in this game was Landorus. Now, if I, yeah, actually, like I think even though we won that, like I'm just thinking about how I would think about this matchup in a best of 3. My opponent could totally not Dynamax Garchomp turn 1, switch in Rotom Heat, stall out my Dynamax, and then play towards a late game Rotom Heat Dynamax. Now, they're a choice Scarf set, so I think it's unlikely they would max with that specific team, but I didn't know that until I checked the team afterwards, right? I think it's highly likely Rotom Heat it'd be a Citrus Nasty plot set. So you have to respect that option. Yeah. Interesting team, though. Spectre did not end up coming out. I was kind of expecting to see that, but I guess this team does a decent job of deterring opposing Spectres, because like you can't really do much damage into Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl, you know, walls you really hard, but can also do decent damage to you. And then Spectre doesn't really offer enough damage against this team to justify bringing it in the early game, especially because against the Zapdos, like at best you're snarling, but that trade-off often isn't worth it. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy. Thank you to Zine for the team. Once again, rentals in the description below, as well as Zine's Twitter. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Catch you guys next time. All right. Peace.